You have heard about dark empaths, awakened empaths, and even those with borderline personality disorder being described as the narcissist's worst nightmare, like their kryptonite. But what if I told you that the one personality type that can completely break a narcissist, like shatter their ego without lifting a finger, is none of these? It's not a borderline, not a psychopath. It's not an empath who has finally awakened either, even though this person can cause major damage to a narcissist's ego. It is a personality so detached, so internally contained, and so indifferent to emotional manipulation that a narcissist simply cannot survive around them. This person's mere presence can suffocate a narcissist. But what am I talking about? Let's find out. I'm Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Welcome to my channel. Today's topic is the secret personality type that destroys a narcissist's every game. You see, a narcissist's nemesis is a person with what psychology calls schizoid personality disorder, or what we could also call a schizoid adaptation. Schizoid personality disorder is a mental health condition where a person has little interest in social relationships, often prefers being alone, and experiences very limited emotional expression. They do not crave approval, validation, or praise. They are comfortable in solitude, self sufficient, and usually detached from drama. While narcissists crave admiration, schizoids are indifferent to it. While narcissists fear being alone, schizoids thrive in it. While narcissists build their entire existence around how they are perceived, schizoids could not care less. They do not pretend to be mysterious or cold to gain power. It's just who they are. That emotional distance is not a tactic, it's their temperament. That's how they're wired. And that is exactly what makes them so lethal to a narcissist. Because the narcissist's entire game relies on emotional feedback. If you don't react, you take away their oxygen. If you don't care, you take away their fuel. And quite interestingly, that is exactly what a person with SPD is naturally wired to do. One of the most dominant and catastrophic personality traits that impacts a narcissist is how emotionally flatlined schizoids are. A schizoid person does not react the way the narcissist expects. If you insult them, they stare blankly. If you happen to praise them, they nod and move on. Basically, they are indifferent to everything. Criticism and praise both do not matter to them at all. There is no visible joy, anger, or emotional currency to exchange. To a narcissist, that is living hell. Their entire self image depends on controlling the emotional climate around them, especially yours. They need to provoke, seduce, or impress you to feel alive, right? But when they face someone who does not mirror those emotions back, their ego gets starved. They feel invisible. And to a narcissist, invisibility is pure death. The schizoid's emotional neutrality acts like a mirror that reflects nothing. The narcissist looks into it and finds no self validation or proof that they matter. And that is what begins the slow psychological collapse of a narc. Then comes the second trait, because it keeps going on. The isolation instinct. Schizoid individuals are naturally solitary, loners. They don't chase relationships and they don't cling when someone leaves. They don't suffer, basically. To a narcissist who thrives on being needed, this is unbearable. The schizoid's ability to disconnect effortlessly makes a narcissist feel replaceable and unwanted. Can you imagine someone with such abandonment sensitivity being rejected or reverse discarded without any attempt to trigger it? Where others seek closure, the schizoid simply walks away without a word. Picture an intense fight where the narcissist wants a reaction from you and you simply walk away, like you vanish. A narcissist, or even a borderline comorbid narcissist, will feel strangulated. Schizoids do not block you out of anger. They just vanish because they simply lose interest. This shakes the narcissist's core belief that they are irresistible. For once, They are the one being emotionally ghosted and they cannot process it. The silence becomes louder than any argument, and the narcissist starts obsessing over the one person they could not control. The third trait, which makes a schizoid immune to manipulation, is that they do not bite emotional bait. Gaslighting does not work because they do not seek truth through others. Triangulation fails because they do not compete for validation. And love bombing? Oh, that's just noise. That is too much work for a schizoid person. Does this make the schizoid one healthy? Not necessarily, but in this context, their personality becomes their shield against the narcissist's weapons. I'm talking about praise, guilt, and seduction. They fall flat. Why? Well, the schizoid is immune to emotional highs and lows. And let me tell you what, they do not get trauma bonded either. The narcissist throws emotional grenades expecting chaos, and the schizoid simply observes and sits back. That calm neutrality disarms the narcissist completely. They cannot fight someone who does not enter the ring. And the most important part is they do not even have to contain their emotions, like fake not feeling them. They simply do not feel them at all. They're more than numb, like emotionally zombified, which brings us to their trait 4, the schizoid's minimal need for control or recognition. The schizoid does not want to dominate others or be dominated. They do not seek attention or leadership. They live in their internal world, and that world is enough. Narcissists equate worth with recognition, fame, or control. When they meet someone who operates outside of that system, someone who genuinely does not care about being seen or adored, it makes them question their entire existence. It's like trying to fight a ghost. The more you swing, the less you connect. The schizoid's indifference becomes the narcissist's torment. Trait number 5, Anhedonia, which is reduced pleasure response. A person with schizoid personality disorder often experiences what's called anhedonia, a reduced ability to feel pleasure. They do not chase dopamine the way most people do. They find satisfaction in inner peace, not excitement or drama. Now, think about that for a second in the context of narcissists. Narcissists are dopamine addicts. They live for the high, admiration, arguments, attention, or chaos. That's their drug. When they meet someone who does not share that or display a similar behavior, it's like being paired with a person who just quit the game of life. The narcissist cannot hook them with sex, gifts, rage, or guilt. Nothing lands. That's why. The narcissist becomes restless, anxious, and eventually paranoid. They call the schizoid cold, empty, or robotic. But what is really happening is that they are projecting their own emptiness onto the one person who can survive without external supply. So basically, schizoid people are trauma bond proof. Story does not end here. We have another trait, and that is called emotional autonomy. That's the ultimate trait. This is the final and most dangerous, the one that seals the narcissist's fate. Schizoids are emotionally autonomous, not in a healthy way though. They do not outsource their emotions. They do not regulate their self-worth through other people. They're self-contained. They live from the inside out, not the outside in. That is the exact opposite of a narcissist. A narcissist survives only when reflected through others. A schizoid survives only when left alone. When these two worlds collide, one depends on control and the other depends on distance. It's only a matter of time before the narcissist implodes from their unmet hunger. The schizoid does not even have to try. That's why they collapse the narcissist without lifting a finger. Their existence itself becomes the narcissist's punishment. Their quietness exposes the narcissist's noise. Their detachment exposes the narcissist's dependency. And eventually, the narcissist feels exactly what they make others feel: invisible, powerless, and unwanted. And that I think is fair enough. That's what they need to go through. So what do you think about this? Have you ever met somebody with schizoid personality type? Let me know in the comments. And also let me know if you're interested in learning about a schizoid narcissist, something that most people do not know about. But if you come across this type of a narcissist, the abuse is going to be 100 times worse than the classic narcissistic abuse cycle. Let's end it here. I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.